One thing that made me want to watch this program was the return of Paul Heyman. The Pauls, Logan Paul and Paul Heyman. And they're together. I'm popping my peas now, aren't I, pal? But Logan Paul and Paul Heyman are going to be interacting with each other, and Roman Reigns is in the mix. And that was the first segment on Smackdown this past weekend, the day before my birthday, September 16th. Where Logan Paul made his big entrance, and they're calling him the Maverick. The Maverick, Logan Paul. Do you think that's going to stick? Is that going to work?
That's not a good one, no. He doesn't need. Not everyone needs a nickname, by the way, especially when they're already more famous than all your wrestlers.
Yes, and does anybody know what a Maverick is anymore? Is that word old-fashioned? See, if I think something's old-fashioned, it's got to be out of date.
Would they have pulled crap like this if John McCain was still alive?
No, and nor James Garner. Either one. But apparently from the announcers, Logan Paul is, and I quote, perpetually on the minds of everyone around the globe. So, at any rate, we won't penalize Logan by the announcers' stilted attempts to get him over. He does a good conversational promo because he's glib and he's with it, right? As far as promoting things. Obviously, he's got this far. And he had fun with the what chants, and he knocked old Floyd Mayweather, and he talked about the press conference that they did on Saturday and challenged Roman Reigns to meet him there because they've had a interplay and some kind of beef on a podcast they did together. And then suddenly, boom, music, and here comes the Bloodline, and Paulie's in the lead. And he's wearing, I don't know if this was, rejected wardrobe for the Penguin in the new Batman movie or a tablecloth at a picnic, but God, it was a loud suit. And he introduced himself, and he gets in the ring, the Bloodline surrounding the ring, so they're menacing old Logan Paul. And did you see this, Brian?
I did, yes.
Does anybody do better smarmy, backhanded compliments with the passive-aggressive, as the kids say, stuff? He verbally filleted Logan Paul and then gradually starts injecting a little smart ass, and then finally threatens Logan Paul about running his mouth about Roman Reigns and telling him to be smart and pick a fight with somebody else. And again, Logan Paul is good with this. He's more natural. You know what this may be? This may be because Logan Paul knows that the producers, if he just goes out there and says shit he wants to say, the producers are not going to chastise him for not following the exact verbiage of the script. And neither are the writers, because he's Logan Paul. I think all the wrestlers that should be allowed to do what he's doing, or well, some of them shouldn't. Some of them shouldn't be allowed on TV. But you know what I'm saying. They're too scared to change anything or to go into business for themselves on a promo in a positive way, putting themselves in it, getting it over as more natural, because they're scared they're going to get yelled at for not saying what they're supposed to fucking say. But this guy can, because he knows he's a star and they need him. So anyway, he says, what, are you afraid I might challenge Roman Reigns? What if I land that one lucky shot? And the way that they were, because remember we talked about this on the last show, and that you said, well, should they be giving Logan Paul a title shot? Well, no, legitimately, no, because he's only had 2 matches, but they need a main event for a big paid show. It's like a $50 million fair show where you don't have to sell tickets, and they don't care who watches Peacock because it's going to be on, a weekday afternoon or whatever, United States time. So they need an attraction that they can pretty much justify to the Saudis that it's worth the money they're paying. And in the process, they will attempt to get this over as good as possible, but they're not wasting Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre again, Roman Reigns versus maybe Bobby Lashley. The list is limited. So I understand what they're doing. And, for a situation like this, there's nothing wrong with it. They're not expecting anybody to buy a ticket to see this. It's a celebrity match. But anyway, so that's when, Paul says, well, I hate to hear that because now I've got to handle you. And he yells for Solo. And as Logan Paul goes to draw back on Paul, here comes Sammy jumps in. And I've got this. I got this. And did you see Paul's face? When he's trying to sick Solo Sikoa, the Street Fighter, on Logan Paul, and Sammy jumps in. And the incredulousness on Paul's face. And you've got it. And he just pitches the microphone. Handle it then. And Sammy tries to turn and reason with Logan Paul, and Logan Paul just drops him with one punch. And here comes the Bloodline, and Logan rolls out. And then Ricochet, for whatever reason, runs down. Well, I know the reason, I'll say in a minute, but in the context of this, Ricochet runs down and backs him up. So now here comes 5'4", 140-pound Ricochet to back Logan Paul up against 1, 2, 3 Samoans, Sami Zayn, and the son of Alfred Hitchcock. But the reason why Ricochet came down was because he's got a match with Sami Zayn next, so they could go to the break, and you're hooked. You can't turn away. But anyway, this interview segment led to the press conference, which we will talk about here in a little while, on Saturday, which led to the Saudi Arabia match that we're going to see at whatever point. But this was a good promo segment. It makes you as interested as you're going to be in Roman Reigns against Logan Paul, I thought. What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty good. Nice to see Heyman back out there wearing an outfit from the Vince McMahon going out of business sale, or I don't know where he got that fucking suit. Logan Paul, he's got size. He's got arms. His arms were the biggest ones of anyone in there. They were defined. They look good. He could do his kind of promo. Again, it's not the wrestling promo. It's something that feels a little more natural, especially if you've been watching this guy for years. I think he's really good. I thought the segment was really good. What do you think of Sami Zayn's role with the Bloodline?
Honestly, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. It's so silly, but Sami Zayn is the kind of guy that can make it work.
Yeah, he pulls it off. I agree.
If it was anybody else, this would be so corny and it wouldn't be funny because you could tell the guy was reciting lines or whatever. But with Sami Zayn, again, with the formerly mute imitation luchador that never wanted to speak, it's a goddamn highlight. I can't, him and Heyman in the same segment, you got gold. So I think, that's the flunky in the group that can take some of the ass whipping that they've been giving those poor Usos for months and months and months and years. And again, the problem I have with them, they're supposed to be the tag team champions, but every opponent that Roman Reigns has can beat them both up by himself. They go from being his flunkies and the cannon fodder for the next heavyweight challenger, but then they go out and they're competitive with every tag team. You can't do both, and I think they're better as the flunkies right now because they're in a main event position, which tag teams ain't going to be. But with Sammy, and also with Sammy not liking, I can never remember, Jimmy or Jay, one or the other, and the other one trying to be the peacemaker.
Yeah, one was laughing while he was getting his ass kicked, and the other one was getting madder and madder.
Yeah. So that's fun. So, I mean, again, everything around Roman Reigns is usually held to a higher standard and outperforms. But